Welcome back to NHI Chat. I'm April Glasgow. NHI Chat is a social media program brought to you by the National Health Insurance of the Virgin Islands. On today's program, you'll see a conversation between me and Dr. A. Turnbull of the Wellness Center, where we spoke about the importance of a child's mental health and, of course, us as parents and guardians taking care of a child's overall well-being. Now, if you have children or nieces or nephews, I think this is a program for you. Please tune in.
It's so important that our kids are emotionally well because research shows that emotionally healthy kids have a higher rate of success, not only academically, but just as an overall adult and professional when they grow up. So being able for parents to just make sure that not only that the kids have meals and books, but they talk to them about, what to do if they feel sad, the expectations of their behavior. Also for parents to use this opportunity as a fresh start. Although the kid may have had some difficulties last year, use this opportunity to refresh them and give them expectations, not rules. You want to speak in a positive, give them expectations of what behavior they would like to see. They would like to see displayed in their life. And also ensuring that their mental health is there and the parents build a great relationship with the school and that child's teacher. So now the child has a protected area where the parent is on board, the teacher is aware, and the child knows that they're working as a team to make sure that they're successful, not just academically, but socially and emotionally as well. So some of the things that parents can do is simply making sure that they set a good routine for their children. And especially when children are coming home, really setting some time to ask them how they are doing, how did their day go, what happened. And also for parents to take some time to pay attention to their children. Meaning, if their child looks sad, don't just ignore it. You have to make time. So if they look sad, ask them what is going on. Because as we are aware, for example, bullying has a significant impact on children's well-being. And look for signs. If you have a child who was always an A student, and now they're just getting E's and D's, that's a sign not only of some academic trouble, but more so of some kind of emotional problem that's going on. Look for tantrums, acting out, inattention. These things are maybe telling of a bigger sign of things that are going on in that child's life.
What are signs of poor mental health?
Yeah, well, more specifically, the first thing you want to look at is a change in behavior, like a drastic change in behavior. The child doesn't seem like they're just being themselves. If they were a bubbly kid, they're now sad. They're just changing mood. They're more angry. Anger outbursts. See, what parents have to understand, kids who are depressed don't manifest sadness and depression like adults. Adults, for example, will just go out and be sad or stay in the corner. Kids, for example, will actually become more angry and agitated, will have more temper tantrums. And you might be thinking that they're misbehaving, but it could be an actual sign that they're depressed or sad about something. So that's another sign. You also want to look at changes in their routine. They're staying in their room more, changes in their diet, their energy level, their sleeping patterns. All those are indications that you can look for to make sure that your child is functioning in an emotionally healthy way.
You notice the behavior, but what can parents do then to make it better for the children?
I mean, sometimes I know it's because as parents, you love your kids very dearly. And when you notice that something is emotionally going on with them, then you feel like overwhelmed and helpless. The first thing I want to remind parents is that they have the power and the know-how to at least be able to assess what is going on. So the first thing you can do is basically make sure you create an environment where your child feels open and willing to talk. And you make it a routine, not just when something is going wrong, but you make it a routine of being able to ask your child what is going on, and your children feel open and welcoming that they could come to you about what's going on as well. So one of the things that parents need to do is when a child comes to talk to them is that they put down their phone and give them the most attention that they can to let the child know that they are concerned and they care. Now after You will say, well, some kids don't want to talk. One of the things I always tell parents, especially if you have a teenager or older kid, they'll be like, no, I don't want to talk, they want to just go to the room. One of the things that they can do is say, listen, I know whatever you're going through is really difficult, but whenever you feel like you're ready to talk, I'm going to be here. Now the key is when that child comes back and wants to open up to you, you have to be willing to listen. And listen first and be very, very slow to judge. Because the minute you get mad or angry about what the child is saying, here's what's going to happen. It's going to stop them the next time from coming back to you about anything because they don't feel like they could talk to you. So the first thing parents can do is listen. And if you feel like it's too much or what is going on that you don't have the capacity to handle, you can reach out to the school's guidance counselors and other mental health professionals that could be able to help your child get through a rough patch. Kids don't only go through depression, their anxiety about storms that they may be going through and the hurricanes. Hopefully we get out this hurricane season. They may be going back to a room environment, a classroom environment where there's some kids and friends that they may not be getting along, or they may feel like they're not as smart as other kids, so they have lower self-esteem. That's something big that parents want to do. Do things that encourage a child that you know that they could be the best version of themselves. Do things that praise them, that make them feel that they could conquer the world. They may not be the best at everything, but there is something that your child does that you can praise them with and give positive attention to.
You touched on my next question, which would have been what are some common mental health issues? So you mentioned depression, you mentioned anxiety, low self-esteem. Anything else you'd like to add to this?
Recently, we've also been seeing kids, because of the storm, have what we call post-traumatic stress disorder. That's a significant pattern of anxiety and behavior as a result of an exposure to a trauma where they thought their life or that of a loved one may have been lost. And your child was here for last year during Hurricane Irma. We had all had remnants of that. They're maybe a little bit more hypervigilant. They're a little bit more scared. They have panic attacks in between. They have problems sleeping or eating. If this a year later that you still see patterns of this in your child, that's something that you definitely want to pay attention to. And then we have kids that are struggling with oppositional defiant disorder, like kids who just breaking rules, not listening, being disruptive. We also have more learning or what we call neurodevelopmental disorders, kind of like ADHD, or in some kids that have specific learning disorders in reading and writing. All of these impact their well-being and different levels. I'll always say parents that are paying attention to kids, they might not know the specific diagnosis that their child may have, but they have a great idea. I've talked to so many parents that it seems like my child has a problem in reading and this and another, and it's been persistent for a couple of years, and regardless of what we do, it's not that they're lazy, it's something that's going on. And when we do a psychological assessment on that child for a reading and intelligence, and it comes out that they have what you call a specific learning disorder in reading and writing, which is previously known as dyslexia. And wow, now we can get some intervention that will not only give the child some affirmation, listen, it wasn't that I can't read or I'm not smart, I have a disorder, so it means I learn in a different way. So now the school and the teachers and the home environment can now tailor how that child learns.
Well, how do we know if a child is overwhelmed versus having an actual issue?
Well, I think they're one and the same. If a child is, maybe having an issue outside just of grades is an indication, just like sleep pattern and eating is an indication. Also, their overall temperament. A child withdrawing and not talking is also an indication. How we'll be able to tell is that we look at these indications and then further up by a conversation. You can't get around engaging the child. And if a parent has been trying and they're having difficulty, maybe someone else will be able to help. So it's important that you are able to, know when you reach your limits and then, ask someone for some help.
Any last words of advice for our parents?
No, for parents, I think that we've all had a great time trying to prepare back for school, and our children are maybe Some kids are maybe repeating, some kids are going to the next grade, some kids are going to high school. And what we want to be able to do, as I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, as we're preparing some of the clients and people, families that have been working here, is just give the expectations. I've been telling kids, listen, I expect you to be a leader. I expect you to be able to do tremendous things this year in school. I expect you not only to listen and follow rules, but I expect you to try your best. And last, one of the biggest things I tell children when they come here, families, I expect you as best as you can and as hard as it is. If something is going on, you can always come and talk, and I want you to just be honest. Even if you have a difficult time, just come back, and that will open a door for later down when something comes up. Oh yeah, I remember I could go back to my mom or Dr. Michael, the counselor, to talk, and that will avail a lot of problems. Because see, childhood mental health, most of the times when adults have disorders that are significantly hampering their well-being as an adult, it starts off in childhood. And that's why it's so important to intervene at an early age to prevent adult illness. And as we know, one of the biggest indications of physical disorders is mental health. And if you don't take care of your mental well-being, you're going to have a lot of exacerbated physical symptoms and disorders and chronic illness. So let's make sure all our children know that they have access for help, and we want the best for them, even though that sometimes may feel uncomfortable and asking some questions. We have to be protectors of them. And I just wish everyone for this school year and all the kids who will be going forward and just excelling, just continue to push through, because we believe in you and you're going to do great things this year.
I hope that you found the conversation today very enlightening. I certainly learned a lot, and I'm sure that you'll be able to take that information back to your homes, back to your schools, to help our children. Thank you for watching NHI Chat. Remember to follow our hashtag on social media. Be healthy, be happy, BBI.